Dividing by a fraction. How is it that you would work some problem like this, 3/16 divided by the fraction 1/2? Or how would you divide 7 by 1/8? Or how would you divide 28 by 3/4? Well, let's start with what you know, and that is, you know that this means how many times will 2 go into 4? Or you know that 8 divided by 4 means how many times will 4 go into 8? Or you know that this means how many times will 14 go into 28? Well, you know that this means that 1 will go into 1 how many times? Well, that's 1. Let's take a look at what happens when it's a fraction. Here we have 3/4 divided by 3/4. How many times will 3/4 go into 3/4? Or how many times will 1/2 go into 1/2? Well, you know that it'll go in 1/2. So let's take a look at that. In order to divide by a fraction, you simply flip over the fraction and you multiply. All right, it works like this. Here we have 1/2 divided by 1/2 equals 1. You know that 1 will go into 1/2 will go into 1/2 one time. So we flip over the fraction. We now have 1/2 times 2 over 1. 1 times 2 is 2, and 2 times 1 is 2. Any number over itself, as in this case 2 over 2, is equal to 1. So let's take a look at another example. Here we have 3/4, the fraction 3/4, being divided into 3/4, and you know that 3/4 will fit into 3/4 one time. So we flip over the second dividing fraction. So we now have 3 times 4 and 4 times 3. That equals 12 over 12, and 12 over 12 is equal to 1. All right, here are a few examples for you to work. After you've worked these and better understand how to divide by a fraction, I'll show you a trick that makes things easier. Here we have 7/9 divided by 2/3. You'll click on the stop sign above, try to work the problem, and then click on the stop sign again to see what answer you got. Click on the stop sign now. The correct answer, 9/7 times 3/2, is 21/18. Simplifying 21/18 is a bit beyond the scope of what we're trying to do here, so we won't go into that. However, if you'd like to know, 21/18 is the same thing as 7/6, and that simplifies even further to 1 1/6. All right, click on the stop sign, try to solve it. The correct answer of 2/7 divided by 4/3, 2/7 times 4/3 is 8/21. Click on the stop sign and try to solve the problem. The correct answer of 4/5 divided by 1/3 is 12/5. Click on the stop sign and try to solve the problem. The correct answer is 12/18, though it has not yet been simplified. Click on the stop sign. The correct answer is 28/30, even though it hasn't been simplified. And now the trick that I promised. All right, you have 7/9 divided by 2/3 does equal 21/18. How did I do that without flipping the second fraction, or the fraction that's doing the dividing? I simply multiplied 7, the numerator, times 3, the denominator, and put that in the numerator's position. Then I simply multiplied 9 times 2, the denominator in one case, the numerator in the other, and I put that in the denominator's position. That 21/18 has not been simplified. All right, I have 3/7 divided by 3/8. I simply 3 times 8 and 7 times 3. All right, 2/5 times 5/16, or 2/5 divided by 5/16. Multiply the denominator times the numerator, it gives me the denominator. Multiply the numerator times the denominator, and it gives me the numerator. Your comments, questions, and suggestions are welcome, encouraged, and always appreciated. You can write to me at alanmorris@yahoo.com.